You know what? Like, before I have to do a video, right? I'm not lying. I really need to be on fire. I need to get like my mojo going. I'm not lying, because like, you know, when you start a video and you just feel so flat. Hi, by the way, I'm doing a wrestling video, and it just takes ages to kind of get out of your shell, whatever it is you want to call it. And I need to get my mojo going. And I'll tell you my secret. What sets me off and what gets the energy going, right? And what it is I have to play music and I have to dance for a few minutes. So one day I'm going to put this up. But for about 5 minutes I was just dancing to Shake Your Body Down to the Ground by Michael Jackson, just to get that mojo going, just so I could just get myself, you know, where I need to be. And the topic of today's video, when it's pro wrestling, is coming off what we've been watching on Raw. And you know what? I've done so many Daniel Bryan videos. I feel like that's all I've been talking about lately, and there's so many things to talk about there. And if you want to talk about that, go back 2 videos. There's some stuff I've done there about him and Kane. If you want to talk about him in that one, do it right there. What I want to talk about though is Bray Wyatt. And Bray Wyatt and his feud with John Cena, but not so much the feud with John Cena, but a statement that I want to make. And I want to present to everybody on here, and I want to know what people think, because right now WWE seem to be 60-70% into this building of new talent, building in new guys. We've seen the Shield have a great run so far. We've seen who else? Fuck my memory. Oh, we've seen the Shield. We have seen Daniel Bryan to some extent have a solid run. Although there's still some things we could talk about, but you know, back onto that later. We have seen, God, my memory is going all over the place today. We have now seen, obviously, the Wyatt family get their push and be used, and I really want to discuss them because, and particularly Bray Wyatt, because Bray Wyatt to me has been the breakout star of the last year, in my opinion, and I have been singing that man's praises since about, I don't know, what, 2010, 2011, when me and a friend of mine, who probably is watching this with his cap on, if you're watching this by the way, get well soon, when he was Husky Harris, and we could just see the potential there. And he had a presence to him, and we heard him talk a bit, and then he went back to FCW after getting punted by Orton. He was off TV for a while. He was down in Florida, and he was teaming with his brother, and a lot of people were singing the praises of his brother, Bo Dallas, who is now on SmackDown and Raw, and saying how Bo Dallas was the breakout star of the two, not Bray, and how Bo Dallas was going to be the single star, how he was going to be the next top babyface, how he was going to go here, there and everywhere, and how, you know, this is the one that we're supposed to watch. And I think people just picked that because, number one, he's a decent looking kid and he's not fat, and I think that's pretty much the basis as to why people were saying that. Whereas when you watch the two of them, Bray really stood out to me. Charisma, talking, presence, solid wrestler, just had this unique X factor to him. And then when they took him from being Husky Harris and repackaged him as Bray Wyatt in 2012, FCW had become must-watch TV for me. And if you go back and watch my old videos, I was saying it back then, FCW has so much talent down there. Dean Ambrose being one, Bray Wyatt being another, Seth being another. There was so many people I like watching. Cesaro, Cassius Ohno, although he's not even in the company anymore. But Bray Wyatt and this gimmick and his talking ability and his ability to just get your attention the second he opens his mouth, that to me is a key thing you need in WWE, because you need to be able to wrestle, but in my opinion you also need to know how to present yourself, you need to know how to talk, you need to know how to cut a promo. And I think that is probably in that company as important as anything else. And a lot of people kind of, you know, I have a difference of opinion with certain users on here. Obviously Sanders Robin 24, I mean, of no disrespect to him, but I think he emphasizes in-ring way too much. While I think it's important, I think it's part of a package that you need to present, where you need the in-ring, but you also need the feelings, the care, the promos, the marketing, the look, the image, You've got to carry yourself like a star, and I don't think that you can sell a pay-per-view on the promise of great technical wrestling. That's just my opinion, and that's why I think someone like Bray Wyatt will succeed more so, or have more opportunities to succeed, as opposed to some of the guys who are great technicians, great in-ring wrestlers, but they just don't have that talking ability. And in that company, it's very important, especially at that level where you have to sell yourself. And here's a statement I want to make, and this is crazy. I think Bray Wyatt will be WWE Champion. Now, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I can believe I'm saying this, because I am saying this, tongue twister. I can actually see Bray Wyatt being WWE Champion. Now, they've been building him very, very well. He's a tremendous character. I think they need to do more with his character. I think he really needs to go too far to be a heel, because I think now the fans are starting to cheer for him. And while that's a good thing, and you might want that in the future, I think his money is in him being a heel. But I think if he turns babyface, I think some of those elements that that work for him are going to be de-emphasized, and he's just going to be a pandering baby. And I really hope they don't go in that routine of him being a pandering babyface. And I think he's a solid wrestler, and I like the fact that he doesn't look like everybody else. I like the fact that Bray Wyatt is not shredded with six-pack abs and prison tattoos and a buzz cut a la Randy Orton, straight out of the RKO factory. I'm quite happy that he looks the way he does, talks the way he does, and wrestles the way he does. And in a sense, they've already set it up, because he had that match with Bryan and he beat him at the Royal Rumble, and he's in this feud with Cena, and I think that's done a lot to elevate him. And I think that WWE should really consider going all the way with him and making him the heel WWE Champion. And to be honest with you, I think he fills a hole left by CM Punk. I think he is definitely the guy that you should be putting up there. I personally think he's the next Undertaker in some respects, the next Mick Foley, the next Jake the Snake Roberts. I think he reminds me more of those kind of characters. But with the absence of a CM Punk, I think it's time to move Bray Wyatt up into that role and really make some plans. And why not? I think he could have some great matches with Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam, this up-and-coming SummerSlam. I think it would be a great feud. I think Bray Wyatt could really get some heel momentum behind him. And I think there's a lot of opportunities there with him later on as he moves up and becomes WWE Champion. I would like to see Bray Wyatt and Daniel Bryan obviously have that feud at SummerSlam. I would like to see Bray Wyatt eventually get in there with Brock Lesnar. I'd like to see Daniel Bryan. I'd like to see Bray Wyatt in there with, well, The Undertaker is out of the question now. I would like to see him in there with a lot of the main event guys. And I think that there is a big opportunity to do that. And I think it could mean something now you've unified the belts. Whereas before you had two titles. And while in theory that could have worked, and I'll talk about the brand split another day, probably on Thursday, while that could have worked, it hasn't. And I think it's better that they just have one world title. And if Bray Wyatt is the guy and they make him the heel world champion, I think that's very, very good. And you could even build off a successful babyface character off of his heel run eventually. And do you know what? I'm going to say it. I think WWE should go all the way, take the chains off, let him do his thing, and him as WWE champion would be very, very interesting. And I'll tell you what, I tell you what, there's definitely something there, and I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen more so than people realise. I think he's a better hand than Roman Reigns, and I like Roman Reigns, but Reigns doesn't yet show that ability that Bray has. And I think that they should go all the way there and put the title on Bray Wyatt. He can talk, he can work, he has that look, he appeals to people, the audience are behind him, and they can boo him. He can go either way with that. He just gets your attention. Look, even my mum, who won't watch pro wrestling, who will not watch pro wrestling, he did a promo and she stopped and walked by and was actually watching it for a few minutes. And that's saying something, because my mum is notoriously hard to please. Anyways, I'm going to stop. If you haven't seen me before, I'm Buff Bin Stuffed. It's nice to meet you. If this is the first time we've met, shake your hand. I do videos on wrestling, I do videos on MMA, I do videos on boxing, I do videos on comic books, I do videos on all things that we like. And if you haven't before, comment, let me know what you think. Will Bray Wyatt be WWE Champion? I really want to know what people think of that. Like this video, put it in your favourites if you want to. And if you haven't before, there's that little button just above your head, or just above my head. Oh no, it's below me now, sorry, called subscribe. Click that and you can get more stuff of me rambling on, ranting on, shouting, venting, scaring off Jehovah's Witnesses who are about to knock on my door. Yeah, over there, pal. You get to see all of that. So if you haven't, please subscribe, and I will see you all soon later.